Good morning and welcome to another edition of Young People's Report. I'm Shane Stikeleather.
And I'm Lindsay Bacigalupo. Today we'll take a behind-the-scenes look at the Flint Generals, learn how to take care of man's best friend, and play a high-tech game of tag.
But first, we're here at NBC 25's facility to take a look around. We thought it'd be pretty cool to show you some behind-the-scenes stuff here.
When driving through Clio, you'll probably see a big tower with blinking lights. That's where NBC 25 is. This tower is over 1,300 feet tall and sends NBC 25's programming, like YPR, all over the mid-Michigan area.
Adam Barber also took a look behind the scenes here at NBC 25. He met up with meteorologist Glenn Willey to find out how he creates the forecast for the news. He has our story.
Weather is one of the few things the news covers that's going to, in one way or another, affect everyone. That makes weather forecasting quite an important job. This is Glenn Willey. He's a meteorologist here at NBC 25. It's his job to look at all of the information that comes in and put together a forecast for the coming day and even week.
The first thing I do is I start getting on the internet and I start looking at some of the different charts and different graphics and such that are available. You want to try to get as much information as you can. You know, as many different sources as possible to come in so that you can look and see, okay, this model's saying this. Well, this one says this. Well, why do they say something different?
During the news, Glenn is seen standing in front of a map and a bunch of graphics that change throughout his forecast. This is done by using a technique called chroma key. What Glenn is really in front of is a huge green screen. The director of the newscast then electronically replaces the green screen with the computerized maps and graphics. So what you see at home is a lot different than what is actually seen in the studio. From the NBC 25 studio in Clio, I'm Adam Barber, reporting for YPR.
Out behind the TV station, you'll find a whole bunch of satellite dishes. NBC 25 uses the satellite field to receive programming from all over the country.
Our next story starts in another type of field, where sugar beets are planted, grown, and then harvested. From there, Michigan Sugar takes over, and Alexandra Grefe is on the story.
Americans consume 65 pounds of sugar per person each year. That's a lot of sugar, and quite a bit of it comes from here, the Michigan Sugar Company. They process over 2 million tons of sugar beets each year.
For every ton of beets that we slice here, we make 256 pounds of sugar.
Most of these beets weigh between 2 and 4 pounds and contain 17 to 18% sucrose, which is what sugar is made from.
Sugar is 99.9% pure, and we make the best sugar in the state.
But before you have sugar, you have to get the sucrose out of the beet. The whole process starts here, in the factory yard, where farmers deliver their sugar beet crops. But this is only the beginning. From the factory yard, the beets are brought into the factory. After a trip through a washer, they are sent to the top floor to await slicing. The beet slicer slices the beets into what looks like shoestring potatoes. This makes it easier to get the sucrose out. After being sliced, the sugar beets are put into a continuous diffuser. Basically, this thing sends the beets through hot water that extracts the sucrose, turning the water into a type of sugar beet juice. This juice is then purified and filtered before starting the next step, evaporation. Here, about 90% of the water is removed, resulting in a thick syrup-like juice. It is then boiled until sugar crystals form. In a centrifuge, the white sugar crystals are separated from the brown syrup. It's kind of like a clothes dryer. It spins real fast, forcing the liquid syrup out through a screen, while keeping the solid sugar crystals inside. The sugar crystals are then sent to a granulator where they are dried. This is where it becomes the sugar we all know. Once dried, the sugar is sent to silos for storage until it's packaged and sent to customers and stores in your area. In less than 8 months, the sugar beet goes from being a small seed in the ground to sugar in bags like these. From the Michigan Sugar Company in Carlton, I'm Alexandra Grefe reporting for YPR.
It's too cold out here for us, so we're going to head inside during the break.
When we come back, we'll take you on a tour of the station and find out how to take care of a four-legged friend. Don't go away.
Welcome back. As you can see, we've moved inside to warm up.
Our next story takes us to Flint, where Lauren Rozyla learned how to pamper her pooch. She has our story.
This is my dog, Ruffy. Like most pups their age, getting dirty is a full-time activity. So to learn how to fight the doggy dirt, we've turned to professionals for guidance.
Hey, you want to grab the back half?
They agreed to show me how to groom Ruffy. First, we cleaned out her ears, then clipped her nails.
Okay, just pull the ear back and go in and just kind of scrub down in there. It'll go way down deep, down into the ear canal. Usually some dogs are prone to ear infections and others aren't. Shepherds really aren't because their ears stand up. The dogs that flap over, those are the ones that get the ear infections the most. You gotta be careful not to get the quick because there's a vein down in there, so you just take the tip off. Good baby. You'll be a good boy. Whoa, whoa, whoa. It's okay. You're all right.
Followed by a quick brush to remove the loose hair and dirt.
And if you want, just kind of brush them out a little bit.
All right.
Just remove a little bit of the hair before we put them in the tub.
Then a trip to the tub.
You test the water because you don't want to throw cold water on them. Try and talk to them, keep them calm. You always got to make sure not to get any shampoo in their eyes. Because just like us, it hurts. Yeah. You're a good baby. The first time you rinse, you really don't have to worry about getting all the soap off because you're going to do it again. But that second time, you really want to get all that soap out because it irritates their skin.
Ruffy was good and clean, we dried her with a puppy power blow dryer. We then returned to the table for some final grooming, followed by a stylish bandana and a spritz of sweet apple-smelling perfume. After all that work, Ruffy looks, feels, and more importantly, smells clean. Angelique recommends that all dogs be groomed every 6 to 8 weeks. From Bubbles and Bows in Flint, I'm Lauren Rozyla, reporting for YPR.
This is production control, where the news is put together every night. The audio operator sits here and controls all the sound that you hear. The graphics operator works over there and creates all of the titles and words that you see on your TV.
And the director sits here and controls it all by selecting the video using this board, talking to the camera operators in the studio with this headset, and telling the audio and graphics operators what they have to do. For example, I'll roll our next story here and have Lindsay bring it up on the audio when we go to it. In 3, 2, 1.
This may look like a normal classroom, you know, the kind you would see in any school. But if you take a closer look, one of the students is a little different. Of course, you have to look at ground level to see him. This is Harley. He's a 10-month-old yellow lab who is a future leader dog. He's here at Hemeder Elementary for the same reason his classmates are, to learn.
He learns what it's like to be loved. They're very, very good with him and how it feels to be taken very good care of, and he's learned how to play with him.
Every day, the students will spend some time caring for Hartley. They brush, walk, and most importantly, play with him.
He learns to sit, down, and stay.
We groom him to keep his fur nice and clean, and then some of us take him out to the bathroom, and some of us go get fresh water every now and then.
They cuddle him. We have a special job for cuddlers. And they help me discipline him too. When he's, for example, if he gets in the trash can.
Hartley's a very active little puppy with lots of energy, but he's already learned a lot, like what quiet time means.
Sometimes he runs around the classroom like 10 times or something, and then he gets all tired and he lays down and rolls around a lot. I think he's just special. I don't know. I don't really have a reason. He's just a good dog.
Hartley is more than a class mascot. He's an ongoing project. These students play an active role in teaching him the skills he will need. In return, Hartley helps to teach them. Once a week, the class weighs and measures Hartley to keep track of his growth and progress.
The children also have a journal, a puppy journal that they write in, and we try to do that, maybe 2-3 times a day, where they keep track of his habits and anything new that he's done or any place new that he's been or any problems that they may see.
Just the responsibility of him. We got to take care of him. And I just love him, and everybody loves him, so that's kind of the reason.
Once Hartley has completed his time here at Hemeder, he will go on to the Leader Dog for the Blind School in Rochester, Michigan, where he will complete his training, and if he graduates, will become a real leader dog. Although the class will miss Hartley when he leaves, they know that he will be moving on to help someone by providing guidance, freedom, and love as a leader dog. From Hemmeter Elementary School in Saginaw, I'm Jacqueline Thomas reporting for YPR.
Lindsay wanted a shot at directing, so I figured she could take us into our next commercial break.
Bring up the music and stand by with your break.
But don't go away. We'll take a look at the game that's sweeping the nation when we come back. Okay, Lindsay, go ahead.
Okay, going to break in 3, 2, 1. Welcome back. If you've just joined us, we're taking a look behind the scenes here at NBC 25. Right now, we're in the Media 100 Edit Suite. This is where the show is assembled. The stories come in on tapes like these and then are transferred into this computer where the show's producers put the segments together like a jigsaw puzzle.
For example, here's our next story. Joe Hostetler checked out a high-tech game of tag and filed this report.
Video games have come a long way. Some allow you to play against other people, and some even put you in the action.
If you truly want to be interactive, then there's one way that you can really be part of the game. It's called laser tag, and it's a lot like a regular game of tag, except for in this game, you use really long arms that move at the speed of light.
This game is different than any other game you've ever played because you actually experience this game. It's video, it's audio, there's even a sense of smell when you're in there with the smoke. So this game, it starts out, you put on vests. The vests are little computer modules that are each connected up to our main computer. There are 6 areas on the vest that can be hit. When the vest is hit, it vibrates and the vest goes off for 5 seconds. Then the participants back in the game again can shoot.
I think it's very awesome because you get to run around and have fun. The arcade games, you just stand still and you don't really get to move around like you do in laser tag. You get to hide on people, and if somebody finds you, they scream.
I think the laser tag is really fun because you gotta run around and it glows in the dark.
I liked sneaking up behind people and shooting them, and I really lost, so I didn't really shoot that many people.
From Kokomo's Family Fun Center, I'm Joe Hostetler reporting for YPR.
We've moved again. Right now, we're here in Master Control. It's basically the brain of the station. Everything that you see on NBC 25 comes through here first. The Master Control operator monitors and controls everything from programs to news and even commercials. Like right now, the operator is broadcasting YPR.
So we better move on to the next story. Danielle DeSimone visited a plant where they turned plain old milk into a sweet frozen treat. She has our story.
Whether you're young or old, hot or cold, when someone says let's go out for ice cream, it's pretty hard to say no. But how do they make this sweet, creamy treat? Well, today we're at the Country Fresh dairy plant here in Livonia to find out.
Well, Country Fresh is one of the largest dairies in the United States. Matter of fact, the largest milk-producing company in the United States. But we're part of Suiza Foods, and our biggest product is milk.
First, fresh cream, sugar, and stabilizers are mixed together in huge vats.
Cream, of course, gives it its creaminess. We also add something called stabilizer. Stabilizer is like a gelatin. If you were to take a gelatin and let it sit in the fridge, it sets up. The same thing happens with ice cream.
This forms what is called the ice cream mix. The ice cream mix is heated and goes through a process called homogenization.
Homogenization makes the product creamy as well. It takes the fat that's in the product and it spreads it out so it's nice and thin so there's no clumps. It gives it a very creamy, smooth taste.
After that, the ice cream mix is heated more and cooled very precisely. This is called pasteurization. Pasteurization kills tiny organisms that can make the milk spoil and makes it safer for you to eat.
Once it's pasteurized, it heads into the mix tank where it's held for 24 hours and ripens, where it really gains its body and its texture and its flavor.
Once the mix has set up, any flavors or colorings are added. This particular batch is going to be mint chocolate chip. Then it is sent on to the next step.
Well, the ice cream, or the cream at that point, is pumped into the freezer barrel, and that's the point that the air is added and the ice cream becomes creamy.
Then flavorings like chocolate or nuts are added. Here we have crushed cookies being added for cookies and cream. Then the soft ice cream is sent to filling and molding machines, where it is filled, packaged and sent to large freezers where it is hardened at 20 degrees below zero. It is then put into trucks and delivered to supermarkets everywhere. After being around all that ice cream, I just couldn't wait to get some for myself. From the Country Fresh Dairy in Livonia, I'm Danielle DeSimone reporting for YPR.
We have to take another break, but when we come back, we'll not only take a look behind the scenes of a local hockey team,
we'll also be heading in there. Don't go away. As promised, we're here in the studio at NBC 25. This is the news desk where the anchors sit when they deliver the news, and over there is the Storm Tracker Weather Center.
But what you don't usually see is the view from the desk. The anchors have to deal with very bright lights and still be able to read the words on the prompter. It's not an easy thing to do.
For example, the script on the prompter is now telling me to introduce the next story. Trevor Verges spent some time with a local group of kids who are flipping, twisting, and tumbling their way to victory. He has our story.
When some kids get out of school, they go home and watch TV. Others go to basketball or soccer practice. But for some kids, their after-school activity can be a real balancing act.
Gymnastics is a sport that involves all of the large muscle skills. Women's gymnastics, they would train on 4 events, and men's gymnastics, they would train on 6 events. But it's a sport that just works flexibility and coordination and strength. The different events for women's gymnastics, there are 4 events. They would be the uneven parallel bars, balance beam, floor, and vault. Boys train on a high bar. They also train on parallel bars, floor, vault, pommel horse, and ring. And they also use little different activities such as tumble track and trampoline, which aren't Olympic events, but they also train on those like events to help them learn harder skills.
I got involved because I had a lot of time that I wasn't using, and I would be just sitting around. So we thought I could do something fun like gymnastics.
Well, when I was little, I used to do a bunch of gymnastics moves in my living room, and my mom decided to put me into a gymnastics class. I think gymnastics is a very challenging sport that makes you have a good attitude about yourself and makes you work hard and feel good about yourself.
The kids that come here vary in different skill levels, and many compete across the state. But if you ask around, they're all here for one main reason.
I like to come here because the coaches are fun and I have a lot of fun. It was a sport that seemed really interesting. I loved watching it on TV and it just looked like a bunch of fun.
I like it because you can learn new things and you can have more friends here and you can get to know more people.
The most challenging event is most likely the balance beam. It's only 4 inches wide and there's many different skills you have to compete on it, and there's dance and there's a lot to it, such as you need to have posture and be tight, and it's really hard to stay on it and stay focused.
From the AGA Gymnastics Training Center in Burton, I'm Trevor Verges reporting for YPR.
Continuing in our behind-the-scenes look at NBC 25, I thought that I'd show you the special sports set. Right now, this area is set up for Hometown Hoops, a segment of the news that features local high school basketball scores. But during football season, with a few changes in props, the set becomes Friday Night Football.
We're not the only ones going behind the scenes today. We have a treat for you sports fans. Nick Josey was given special access to take a behind-the-scenes look at the Flint Generals, and he filed this report.
Growing up, every kid has a hero.
Mike Bossy and Brian Trottier were probably my most favorite players when they played with the Islanders on those 4 Stanley Cup championship teams.
A guy named Paul Coffey. He played for the Edmonton Oilers. I was fortunate enough to go and watch him play just about every home game.
I always tried to idol myself with Bobby Clark, who played for the Philadelphia Flyers.
His number 16 is still my favorite today.
Well, here in Flint, a bunch of kids look up to these guys, the Flint Generals.
I come to the games because I think they're really fun to watch. Even though if we lose sometimes, I usually find pucks and stuff. It's really fun.
Flint Generals are a good team with good fans. They're pretty cool. They're just fun to watch. Something to do.
I think they're really cool. I like them a lot better than the Red Wings because the arena's smaller and the games are more fun, I think.
They're a lot of fun to come and watch. They play some good hockey.
It's plain to see that the Generals are a great team with many fans. But what does it take to be so successful? I'll have to take you back to last night's practice to find out. This is the beginning of their practice session before the big game. Those of you who play hockey will probably recognize some of this.
A good hockey player usually, you have to have good speed for one. You have to have a good head for the game, is to know where to be on the ice at all time. And one of the most important things is heart. A lot of your best players are the guys that have great heart and determination out there on the ice.
Well, they always say practice makes perfect. You go out there and you get a feel for the rest of the players on the team. You get a kind of an idea of what you should be doing during the games.
Players need good off-season conditioning where they're building up strength that they're going to be able to draw from during the whole season. They're also going to need to work on their fitness level so that they have conditioning that they can last throughout the game. And then they're also going to need proper conditioning throughout the season to maintain the strength that they've achieved over the summer.
Despite the hard work needed to play the game, these guys seem to enjoy it, and it pays off in the end.
I think the best part is doing something that you love to do. I think I've always wanted to be a hockey player ever since I was a little boy, and growing up playing hockey has been a dream of mine, and to do something you love is always something that's great to do.
Fans here have been great. This is my third year here, and they've always supported me pretty well. They actually call me Nasty.
Well, obviously the fans here, they're great fans. They've had hockey here for 30, 40 years now, and it's a kind of a blue-collar type town, and they like blue-collar type players.
Well, basically when you're a young kid, play the game and have fun. Enjoy yourself. You'll find out later on in life, by the time you're 13, 14, 15, if you're going to have the talent to play the game professionally. But as a younger kid, go out there, have fun, enjoy the game, and just work on your skills.
Now that you've seen all the work that goes into making the Flint Generals a team, let's go back to game night to show you how all the work has paid off. Not only are the Generals successful on the ice, they're a big hit with fans.
Well, I'd have to say Kahil is the best forward, and Lou Marino is the world's greatest goalie.
Lauren Knopf and Khalil Thomas, because they've been around a long time, and Khalil Thomas tries so hard to get goals, and Lauren Knopf is a great defenseman.
Zabawa, because he's cute.
Kevin Kerr, because he scores all their goals and stuff. Yeah. He's the bomb.
If you still don't believe that the Generals are a powerful hockey team, just check out their record. I believe their victories speak for themselves. From the IMA Sports Arena in Flint, I'm Nick Josey reporting for YPR.
We've had a lot of fun today hanging out behind the scenes at NBC 25.
But unfortunately, that's all the time we have for this week.
Thanks for joining us and have a great week.
Well, I've been in Flint a long time. I believe this is my 6th year here. I've really enjoyed it. There's some great fans, and there's just some great people in the community of Flint, Grand Blanc, and the surrounding areas.
Well, it's definitely important to practice. It's very important. I think, that old cliche, practice makes perfect, and I think the more you practice on things, not only hockey, but everyday things in life make you definitely better at everything you do.
I mean, besides all the long hours of practice, I think you better stay off drugs and alcohol and stay in school. Discipline is the best thing.
If I couldn't be an athletic trainer, I probably would have been a coach, a soccer coach. I enjoyed soccer and played it in college.
If I was to do anything else, I think I'd like to be a professional golfer, just because I'd like to try that lifestyle out. If I was decent enough to stay on the tour, then that'd probably be my second best bet.